I'm one of the few Americans that actually met Ayatollah Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, in person in Tehran. Of course, he was killed in an airstrike on Saturday, and that has prompted my memory of that meeting. And here's what I learned. At the time, back in August 2012, I was the UN Undersecretary General for Political Affairs. That meant I was the chief foreign policy advisor and note-taker for then UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, who had a closed-door meeting in Tehran with Khamenei that was frankly bizarre. I had just retired from the U.S. Foreign Service, where my focus was heavily on mitigating Iran's dangerous regional role. So meeting Khamenei in person was a surreal experience. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and I, we stepped into his modest inner office. He gave me a quick, polite nod as we sat down. He sat perfectly still with a stiff, straight-back posture and stared at Ban Ki-moon for what felt like an eternity. Finally, in a soft, raspy voice, he launched into a diatribe that lasted well over an hour. And I have three main impressions that stuck with me from that encounter. First, to my surprise, he did not mention Israel. He was totally fixated in his monologue on the United States, which showcased his profound paranoia, his singular hostile focus, his basic obsession with the United States. And second, the contrast between the flatness of his delivery, the utter lack of charisma he had, and the fiery nature of the words that he was delivering. And then third, and most significantly, was he had a fundamental misunderstanding of America's complexity and strengths. And he was entirely convinced back in 2012 that we were an imploding country, that we were defined by predatory economic mayhem, falsified elections. Now, ultimately, his death concludes the reign of a man who for 37 years directed a brutal system fueled by unrelenting hostility toward the United States. So what happens now is not clear, but I think that there is more resilience in the system that he's built in than we would like. This is not Venezuela. This is not a country where you can remove or kill a leader and expect someone else to reach out to Washington and say, okay, let's make peace now. The entire identity of the Islamic Republic of Iran under Khamenei's leadership became anti-American. The people who have the guns, they have a very strong ideological bias against us. This is not going to be the same result as Venezuela. And for more analysis, visit brookings.edu.